Over 85% of companies are already using AI, yet most still haven't seen real business impact and feel more overwhelmed than ever. Now, that comes straight from McKinsey and Company, one of the world's top management consulting firms advising companies like Apple, Amazon, and Google. And here's the part most people miss. The problem isn't access to AI, it's that businesses are stacking tools and agents and automation on top of broken systems. McKinsey shows that the gap between AI adoption and real business value is actually growing and not shrinking. That's the reality check. AI isn't failing your business, the way it's being pointed and directed is. So in this video, I'll show you the only AI system that actually removes constraints and creates leverage inside of your business. And I'm not gonna show you another agent or AI tool or automation. Instead, I wanna answer 3 questions most business owners are asking quietly, but almost no one is answering clearly. Now, the first one is what an AI system actually means inside business and why stacking agents and workflows is usually the fastest way to more chaos and not leverage. Second, where AI should actually live if the goal is to remove constraints instead of creating more work to manage. And third, how business owners need to think about AI in 2026 if you want a real advantage, not just another experiment that looks smart but doesn't actually move revenue, time, or focus. Now, if AI has felt confusing, overwhelming, or oddly underwhelming so far, this will explain exactly why. And here's the mistake almost everyone is making with AI. They think AI creates leverage just by default. And in actuality, it doesn't. AI only creates leverage when it's pointed in the right direction at the right problem. Most businesses are using AI to move faster without being clear on where they're actually going or what's really slowing them down in the first place. So AI feels impressive, it feels powerful, but somehow nothing really changes. More tools, more dashboards, more noise, and less clarity. And this idea clicked for me after reading the book, The AI-Driven Leader. One line really stuck with me, and AI is not a strategy, it's not the strategy, AI is an amplifier. Strategy comes first, and then AI is the way to amplify it. The simplest way to think about it is like a GPS. AI is a GPS and an engine combined. It helps you move faster, it can help you optimize the route, but it cannot decide on the destination. If I punch in the wrong address in my GPS, driving faster doesn't necessarily help me. I just end up very confidently in the wrong place. And if I don't know where I'm going at all, the GPS cannot decide for me. It just waits, right? AI works the exact same way in business. Most businesses never define the actual destination. They never identify the real constraint. They just stepped on the gas. So AI didn't fix anything. It just accelerated the confusion. And once you see AI this way, the whole conversation changes because the question stops being what cool thing can AI do and becomes where is the business actually stuck? That's the difference between AI as a tool that makes us feel productive and AI as a leverage that actually impacts production. So once you understand that AI is an amplifier, not necessarily the strategy, this explains something that's been bothering a lot of business owners. Why AI feels powerful but doesn't actually make the business feel easier. So let's start there. So my first point is why most AI fails in business. And it fails for one simple reason. Businesses start with the tools and not the problems. They hear about an agent, they hear about an automation, they hear about some new AI workflow, so they just bolt it on. And now they got more dashboards, more alerts. Suddenly your team is checking AI the same way they used to check email. More things technically work, but don't significantly impact the outcome. AI gets layered in on top of broken systems, so instead of removing the friction, it just helps the chaos move faster. And that's why teams feel busier after implementing AI, not better. And this right here is a key trap. AI is being used essentially like caffeine. It's short-term energy, no long-term structure. And once you see this, it's actually relieving because it means that AI didn't fail you or your business. You were just aiming it at the wrong thing. And that leads to the real question. If AI tools aren't the answer, then what actually is an AI system? And so here's the clear definition for you. An AI system is not an agent, it's not a tool, it's not a workflow. and it's damn sure not an automation. An AI system is a sequence, meaning one decision leads clearly into the next without human bottlenecks. It starts by identifying the constraint. Then it applies intelligence at the point of constraint, and only then does it improve the flow across the business. That's it. Simple. Unsexy, yet powerful. Systems think in outcomes and not features. Agents answer questions, automations move tasks, but systems change how decisions get made. Now, this is straight out of the AI-Driven Leader book. AI does not replace the work. It improves the decision quality at those key leverage points. So instead of asking, what can AI automate? The better question is, where does a bad decision cost us the most? And once you get that, the next step becomes obvious, right? Where should AI actually be applied first into your business? Well, here's where most people mess this up. They ask, what can AI do? That right there is the wrong question. The right question is, what is draining time, money, or mental energy in this business every single week? So instead of starting with tools, you start with an activity inventory, literally listing out what happens in the business from the sales calls, the follow-ups, the reporting, the decision reviews, the customer issues, the planning, the hiring, the admin, and meetings that somehow don't need to exist but still do. Most business owners are shocked at how much energy goes into decisions that shouldn't require much thinking anymore. Now, you grade those activities, not emotionally, operationally, and then you ask 3 simple questions for each one. Does this cost us a lot of time? Does this cost us real money if it's done poorly or slowly? Or does this create mental load or decision fatigue? Anything that scores higher on time, money, and mental drain becomes a candidate. And this is where AI actually belongs, not as a replacement for thinking, but as a thinking partner. AI helps you summarize patterns you're too close to see and surface decisions you keep delaying. Standardize judgment where inconsistency is costing you, and reduce the back and forth where clarity already exists. You bring in the context, you bring in the standards, you bring in the business reality, and AI handles the repetition, the synthesis, and the speed. That's how AI removes pressure instead of adding dashboards and complications. And once you see it this way, the question stops being, what should you automate? It then becomes, what should you stop personally carrying? Now, quick pause here. If this is clicking for you and you're realizing, okay, I don't need more AI tools, but I need better systems. This is exactly the kind of work I do one-on-one. I help business owners identify where leverage actually lives in their business, then design a system that removes the constraints using AI without adding more chaos, dashboards, or busy work. So if you want help implementing this, thinking inside your business, you can go to the link in the description down below or head to buildleverage.io and book a complimentary strategy session. No pressure at all. Just clarity on where leverage is hiding in your business and what to fix first. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Now, in 2026, the winners won't be the businesses that are using the most AI. They'll be the ones using the least on purpose. AI maturity isn't about volume, right? It's more so about clarity. Clarity beats capability every time. The strongest companies will, essentially use fewer tools, they'll build repeatable systems, and they'll apply AI where leverage already exists. They will ignore novelty completely because AI stops being a side project and it becomes the infrastructure, like accounting systems, operating cadence, decision rules. You don't experiment with it every week because you rely on it quietly once it's set up and implemented into your business. And if you're thinking like, oh, I just need to get the next AI tool, or you become a tool chaser, which you're gonna stay busy, really you wanna be a system thinker so you could build leverage. And that leads to the simplest operating rule you can use going forward. Now, here's the filter that prevents everything you just learned from turning into chaos. This isn't a new framework, it is the brake pedal, right? Before using AI anywhere, just ask this simple question. If this gets 10% better, does the business improve meaningfully, right? That's the question. If the answer is no, AI doesn't belong there yet. If improving this doesn't free up the leadership attention, speed up revenue, reduce costly mistakes, or remove friction across teams, then it's not leverage, it's just noise. And AI doesn't need more surface area in your business. It needs a better placement. And when you apply it in this way, something interesting starts to happen. You stop feeling behind. You stop chasing trends. And you stop wondering if you missed out on something because you're no longer using AI reactively, right? You're using it with intentionality. So now the question isn't what AI tool should I use? It's where does leverage actually come from in my business? Because AI doesn't create leverage on its own. It only amplifies the leverage that already exists. If you don't understand where leverage lives, you'll automate the wrong things, you'll speed up work that doesn't really matter, and you'll feel busy instead of powerful. That's why the next step isn't more AI, it's learning how leverage actually works in modern business. So if this way of thinking about AI clicked for you, the missing piece is understanding where leverage shows up before AI ever enters the picture. I broke all that down in another video called The 4 Pillars of Leverage in the Information Age. The video gives you the mental model for where effort actually compounds, which parts of the business deserve more focus, and how to filter decisions before the tools get involved. Once you see those levers, AI stops being confusing and it becomes obvious where it belongs. So if you want to, go ahead and go watch that here now.